A long, narrow country stretching along the western coast of South America, squeezed between the Pacific Ocean and the Andes Mountains, Chile. One glance at a world map, and it immediately catches your eye. At approximately 4,300 kilometers in length, Chile holds the title of the world's longest country, yet its width drops to just 90 kilometers at certain points. In other words, traveling from one end to the other is an even longer journey than driving from Los Angeles to New York. With a population of around 19 million, Chile is home to one of South America's most developed economies. But what makes this country truly fascinating is neither its economy nor its geography. Chile is a place that unfolds layer by layer the deeper you go, a country where every corner confronts you with a surprising truth, and one of those truths plays out right on the streets in plain sight at any hour of the day. When you step onto the busy avenues of Santiago, Chile's capital, something catches your attention. Street workers, sex workers. But what you find here is unlike anything you might expect, because Chile is a country that does not criminalize sex work, effectively tolerating it. This makes for a more open situation than even many European countries. Santiago's Bella Vista neighborhood, the colorful streets of Valparaíso, the city's bustling nightlife districts, these women are there, even in broad daylight, as if they are simply part of the ordinary scenery. So how did it come to this? In Chile, sex work is neither legal nor illegal. There is a legal gray area. Buying sex is not a crime. Working in a brothel or a club is not a crime. But when a third party gets involved to organize the work, things enter murky legal territory. As a result, women are often forced to work independently, which leaves them deeply vulnerable. Violence, exploitation, and health risks are daily realities for these women. The state neither protects them nor completely ignores them. It simply leaves them in this space of ambiguity. According to the Chilean Sex Workers Association, hundreds of thousands of women earn their living this way across the country. And here is what makes it even more striking. The majority of these women are not Chilean. Migrant women from Venezuela, Colombia, and Bolivia make up the most visible face of this reality. One of the most jarring reflections of South America's chronic migration crisis is playing out openly on the streets of Chile. Starting in the mid-2010s, Chile found itself facing a massive wave of migration triggered by the collapse of Venezuela. People fleeing what was once one of Latin America's wealthiest countries set their sights on Chile, drawn by its reputation for economic stability. But Chile was not ready to absorb this population. Undocumented work, language barriers, discrimination. Before long, for many young women, the street became the only way out. To understand this, you need to look at Chile's social fabric. Chile is widely regarded as one of the most conservative countries in South America. It has a deeply rooted Catholic tradition. Abortion was only partially legalized in 2017. Same-sex marriage was not recognized until 2022. And yet, alongside this conservatism, there is this openly visible sex work on the streets. The contradiction between these two realities leaves anyone trying to make sense of Chile genuinely puzzled. But Chile cannot be defined by this contradiction alone. This is also one of the most dramatic natural landscapes on Earth. And that is not an exaggeration. Chile is the most seismically active country in the world. The 1960 Valdivia earthquake is the largest ever recorded in human history, measuring 9.5 in magnitude. Japan's devastating 2011 earthquake shook the entire world, yet it never came close to that scale. Chile's coastline sits directly at the collision point of two tectonic plates, keeping the country under constant seismic tension. Living with earthquakes has become so normalized for Chileans over the centuries that they even have a separate word for minor tremors: temblor. The south of Chile presents an entirely different picture. Patagonia, glaciers, fjords, endless windswept plains where the gusts can knock you off your feet. Torres del Paine National Park is considered one of the most spectacular natural sights on Earth, drawing hundreds of thousands of visitors every year. But the terrain is so unforgiving that some hikers spend weeks preparing just to make it through safely. Then there is the Atacama Desert. Stretching across northern Chile, it is the driest place on the planet, drier even than the Sahara, with some areas having gone centuries without a single drop of rain. But it is precisely because of this that the Atacama offers something you simply cannot find anywhere else on Earth: a perfect sky. When there is no moisture in the atmosphere, the stars shine as if you could reach out and touch them. That is why the Atacama is home to the world's most powerful telescope observatories. The majority of the most advanced telescopes on Earth are located right here. The European Southern Observatory, the ALMA Radio Telescope, the soon-to-be-completed, extremely large telescope. Scientists observe galaxies billions of light years away from this very spot. In other words, Chile's driest, most desolate corner is also humanity's closest window to the universe. And NASA doesn't use this desert just for stargazing. The surface of the Atacama so closely resembles that of Mars that research conducted here feeds directly into space exploration programs. Scientists walking through this desert are, in a sense, exploring the surface of another planet. Chile has one of the highest per capita incomes in Latin America. It ranks first in the world for copper reserves, producing roughly 30% of the world's entire copper supply. That copper is in your iPhone, your laptop, your electric car. Without even realizing it, you are paying Chile every single day. And the wealth doesn't stop at copper. Have you heard of Chilean wine? Chile is one of the world's largest wine exporters, going head-to-head with French and Italian wines. The valleys at the foot of the Andes offer a near-perfect climate for wine production, Cabernet Sauvignon, Carmenere. These grapes don't thrive just anywhere, but in Chile, they grow beautifully. Today, Chilean wine is on tables in restaurants from New York to Tokyo, a small country in the southern hemisphere, holding its own at the table with the giants. But beneath all this wealth lies a deep inequality. Chile is one of the most unequal countries in the world in terms of income distribution. A small group at the top accumulates enormous wealth, while the vast majority of the population barely gets a slice of the pie, and that inequality exploded in 2019. On one side, the driest desert on Earth. On the other, glaciers. On one side, a window to the universe through powerful telescopes. On the other, mysterious statues guarding their secrets in the middle of the ocean. On one side, Latin America's highest income. On the other, chronic inequality. On one side, deep conservatism. On the other, sex work normalized on the street. This is why Chile is so fascinating. Chile is a country that unsettles you, makes you think, and leaves you face to face with its contradictions. And perhaps that is exactly why it is impossible to either fall in love with it entirely or simply look the other way. In that narrow strip of land at the very edge of the world, Chile holds within it all the complexity of what it means to be human.